immediately, not just down the road. And, couldn't be happier with the start that he's off to.
Great praise there by head coach Frank Vogel. Mark, it's also something that I think that you would hear from his teammates as well when talking about THT. Do you see him getting even more playing time this season?
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that's a product of the hard work that he's been putting in, the development, but also the theme of this season. There's going to be so many moving parts because of possible injuries, maybe things related to COVID, just opportunities to rest some of their star guys. So I think everyone from top to bottom is going to have a pretty significant role here. I think it's almost like the Warriors' identity a few years ago where they're talking about strength in numbers. I think the Lakers are going to be adopting that idea as well.
Yeah, Frank just kind of cracked me up right there. He said THT's kicking everyone's butts in practice, and that's why the Lakers drafted him. That's why they bought into the second round to draft him. They liked his defensive possibilities. All right, he's listed at 6'4", got that 7'1" wingspan, so he's going to cause people trouble when he's guarding you. Now, the thing for him, he's got to get that three-point shooting up. 31% as a rookie. Limited playing time, not a lot of volume, so it's not like he's playing 28 minutes and getting into a rhythm out there. But if he really wants to get playing time, he plays good defense, which I think he already is going to be doing, and he hits some open threes, which is yet to be seen on the court. But if you put those two together, Allie and Mark, maybe he gets in there as like the 9th or 10th man, maybe some fringe rotation play for him.
Look, I think we hear it a lot, especially from the veterans, that maybe the preseason is too long. It's too many games.
Not this time.
There's only 4 games, but when you're talking to a guy like Caitlin Horton Tucker, the preseason is where you want to earn your keep, right? I mean, I'd expect to see him a lot.
Yeah, and he was pretty good in the bubble. There were a couple games where you're like, huh, that's interesting. And not just like the seeding games. He got into a couple playoff games, and he showed a couple things that he can do. But now, he's coming into his second year, still a very young player. Remember, he was very young when he was drafted in 2019. Can he kind of expand upon what we saw in limited action in the bubble?
Opportunity. You got to love it. You got to seize it when it comes.
He'll have some.
LeBron James continues to win awards and make history. LeBron became the first athlete ever to be named Sports Illustrated's Sportsperson of the Year. Not once, not twice, 3 times. The award is given to the athlete that most embodies the spirit of sportsmanship and achievement. And King James was asked about receiving that award.
It definitely does. And you see the class that I was in, and the group that I was in, the men and women that I was a part of, understanding that, we're more than athletes, and being able to go out there and not only perform at a high level in what we do as far as our profession, but also being able to change lives and create opportunities and empower people and inspire people off the floor, not only in our communities, but all over the world. So it means a lot, to be a part of that group and, like you said, to be the first ever 3-time winner of this award. I'm very humbled. It means a lot to my family and my friends and, my kids at my foundation and my school back home and my city of Akron, where I come from. It's a great time.
From winning a title, finals MVP, all of his initiatives off the court, you got the more than a vote that he was very largely in front of. Mark, you just can't say enough about LeBron and what he continues to do.
Yeah, I think he's the most impactful athlete of this generation when you're looking at his on-court contributions, his off-court. And the scary thing is, even entering his 18th season, he can still accomplish a lot. Lakers GM Rob Pelinka was saying the other day that, he's mindful that he's going to be retiring his jerseys. He's hopeful that will include a Lakers jersey. When you're talking about off the court, his more than a vote initiative went beyond trying to increase voter turnout for this election. He was talking about future local and national elections as well. The I Promise School initiative that he's done the last few years, he's going to continue to do that every year, and he wants to be able to oversee the students that entered that in middle school all the way through high school and see what the net benefits are. So as much as the accolades he's gotten are well-deserved, I think in LeBron's mind, he feels like there's so much more that he wants to accomplish. And then you also look for whenever he does retire from his NBA career, what he does post. And I think it'll all fall under this umbrella of impacting the community in a positive way.
Look, a great NBA player has a choice. Just play the games and be good and maybe win some championships, make some money. And people will talk about you fine in NBA circles. Or you can do that and add the off-the-court stuff and that is where LeBron James is different from plenty of superstars who have come and gone in the NBA over the decades. I mean, this guy has done so many different things. And the I Promise school that Mark alluded to, right before he became a member of the Lakers, or right after he was signed with the Lakers, that to me was a really big deal. It's about a $50 million initiative, if I remember correctly. I'm thinking, this guy donated a school. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, that's something that I have never seen from a player and might not ever see again. What a great idea by him. That, to me, really put him on the map of stuff he can do off the court.
You guys have covered a lot of athletes and a lot of great ones at that. Yeah. And not to compare at all, but when you're speaking specifically of a guy like LeBron James, you mentioned the I Promise school. We've all heard of it. We talk about the more than a vote. When I think of these things, that's one thing for an athlete to do. But to do it all the while winning and continuing to play, I mean, have you seen another athlete who has done what he has done in the way in which he has? You know,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I didn't cover him. You know, I was a young guy growing up in the 70s and 80s when he was on his way to becoming the NBA's all-time leading scorer. I love what he's done off the court since that time. I'm sure he did plenty on the court, but he's still a very informational writer, speaker. Always love reading his books and hearing what he has to say when he comes on our air every year or so. So I think Kareem carries a big voice off the court. But like you said, LeBron to be doing all this while he's still playing, while he's winning championships, while he's kind of reinventing himself and leading the league in assists for the first time ever in his career. It just kind of befuddles you, and it blows the mind at all the things that he is doing as a player.
Yeah, Allie, and if you don't mind me adding this, when the NBA suspended the season in March because of the coronavirus pandemic, I talked to some people with the I Promise school, and they're saying immediately LeBron James was in contact with them to make sure that all the students and families were still taken care of, even though schools were going to be closed. So it involved a lot of, support when it comes to food, having, shelter for these families in need. So he's been doing even above and beyond during the pandemic, and that's obviously been more important now than ever.
Look, he wears that more than an athlete across his chest, and he's not just talking about it. He's actually being it.
Yep.
Speaking of LeBron, part